Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Merry Lintmas! Hello everyone and welcome to Lintcraft. My name is Lintgravy and today is a very special day. It's episode 10 and oh man oh boy do I have a totally gravy episode planned for you. So for this very special episode, I did the thing. A little building off camera, eh? What do you think? I think it turned out totally gravy. We'll explore that in a minute, and then we'll explore around the world of Lintcraft so far. A world tour of all the things built, half-built, and unbuilt as a time capsule we can look back on and see how far we've come. But first, we need to talk about what happened last episode. Story time! Come one, come all to this tragic affair. I went live on Twitch and I lost all my gear. So throw on some diamond, look like all the rest till we get more netherite. It's simply the best. If you're watching this series and like what you see, then what just happened was totally not gravy. So gather round, gravy gang, we'll start it again. We'll enchant up our gear and head off to the end. Another explosion, the netherrack burns. How many beds till the debris is earned? You've got front row seats to this bastion remnant. The reward is this netherite upgrade template. So it took a minute, but our new gear is ready for the big final upgrade with 2 Ds for a double dose of his pimp. And while we waited to get our gear back in tip-top shape, I had plenty of time to finish up the library, including adding some sweet towers to really level it up. Now that's a grand library. I also spruced up the interior quite a bit and it's almost finished. I do have a few other things I'd like to add, but I think this is a totally gravy build and we'll call it done for now. One bit of bad news though. While I was getting back to fully enchanted, the villagers did lose their triple discount. We no longer have max enchantments for 1 emerald. It's a tragedy, a travesty, okay, it's not the end of the world. And soon librarian villagers are getting an overhaul anyway, so it's fine. Now let's check out the view. So from this vantage point, we can take in the entire hill on which the library and Nelrum's tower are situated, as well as look over to the east to the village of Linton. Now let's talk about lore. So the idea is that the original desert village that was here was actually the ruins of an ancient Babylon kind of place, and as we build the city we'll make that more evident. But it was abandoned, and another, more medieval society found the ruins and moved in, refounding the city, building a castle over there, and mixing the cultures. That's why Linton looks the way it does. So early on in this refounding of Lintalon, a powerful wizard named Nelrim arrived and helped kickstart the civilization, building a tower overlooking the village on this hill. Over time, Nelrim took on students, and eventually a giant Hogwarts-esque academy grew around the tower. The centerpiece of this academy will be our grand library. And of course, over there at some point, we'll build a Quidditch pitch. Down with turfs, though. Okay, let's get down into the village of Linton and see what's going on. So Linton was a simple, vanilla desert village, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but over time, all of the villagers disappeared. So I took the opportunity to spruce up the village into a custom little town. One day we'll be able to come here and find any and every type of villager. However, none of these guys were cured. Their prices are base, which is not based. so as we develop the larger city, we'll have specific builds like a butcher shop and such. Okay, that's a wrap for the village. Let's cross the bridge and check out the castle. Well, it's gonna be a castle one day. This will eventually be the inner courtyard, and out there will be a larger castle grounds. We'll get to that in a second. But on the other side of what will one day be a throne room with fancy map walls is our inventory tower. We've seen this place a bunch in earlier videos, but I never really called attention to it. It's a 2-story variation of Waddle's Season 2 guide storage building. Right now it's a clogged up nightmare, but next episode we'll be solving that problem. Okay, out this way to the castle grounds. On the right we've got the sniffer pen from episode 8, and to the left we have the enchanting tree. We've seen this a couple times before too, and I'm pretty sure it's another Waddle's build. That'll become a recurring theme in a second, just wait. So we exit the castle and turn right, and we've got a nice big empty plaza in front of the Desert Cathedral. This is a modification of an existing desert temple that was actually my very first home in this world, even before I built that little tower. I got a bit carried away though, and it doesn't look much like its origin, but has a gravy Notre Dame vibe. Beside the cathedral is the cemetery, featuring a build designed by a Redditor that I just had to recreate. It was too cool. The skeleton spawner farm entrance, a giant felled skeleton. I love the spooky vibes here. Water elevators take you up and down to the spawner, and a water elevator lifts the skeletons up and drops them down to be one-hitted for maximum efficiency. Unfortunately, they do tend to bunch up in the elevator and fall back down, so sometimes the landing takes them out. It's not really a problem, but I do need to upgrade this build with tinted glass to improve the spawn rate a bit. Across the plaza is a bridge that leads to the farmstead, which has some of my first builds and is heavily inspired by Waddle's Season 2 guide videos, and occasionally straight up rips it off. Don't judge me, that's how we all learn, but you gotta give credit where credit is due. Speaking of, Nelrum's tower is from a YouTube tutorial, and I don't remember whose. Okay, we've got the message board, and we've got the Bonomatic 3000 in front of my farmhouse, which is mostly just cat storage at the moment. We'll spruce it up a couple videos from now. Some nice gardens in the front yard, and over yonder we have the cow barn from episode 4, and the automatic melon and pumpkin farm that hasn't been featured yet. Look at those melons. Back around the front, we've got the wheat field and a bridge over the little stream that waters the field, and now we're at the Waddle's sheep market. Here, one of each of the 16 colors of sheep are automatically harvested of their wool, which is collected underground and transported to the wool storage building. I built this back when 1.16 came out to show off the new crimson wood, but it doesn't really fit the vibe of the area. We'll have to fix that. On one side of the wool market is an unfinished windmill, on the other is a cozy little manual sweet berry farm, and on the far side we've got a crossroads at the center of the farmstead. Looking around, we've got an automatic honey farm, a manual flower farm, a villager breeder, crimson and warped wood farms, an automatic sugarcane farm, a cozy little pond with an undecorated island, a manual vine farm, and automatic bamboo and cactus farms. I've got some big plans for expanding this area, and the big theme of the next 10 episodes is going to be fixing up some of the numerous unfinished builds, just like the first 10 episodes mostly revolved around the Grand Library. And most of those unfinished builds are right here on the farm. The southward road leads toward the Nether Ziggurat, but we're not quite headed there yet. We just want to check out the iron farm for now. This is a standard bedrock iron farm from back around 1.16. A bunch of YouTube tutorials on it, but unfortunately it stopped working a few updates ago, and now it's hit or miss. I love the aesthetic of it though. Okay, backtracking and heading north from the crossroads instead. Across from the villager breeder, we see those netherwood towers up close, and underneath them is a spooky nether cave. I love how this one turned out, and you'd never know it's there. Across the river, we've got the remains of a forest I grew to harvest a ton of apples off camera back during some earlier sods, and a giant hole in the ground I dug to eventually be a giant mining operation. Behind us, you can see the village of Enton off in the distance, and that's where the end portal is, under that mountain. But the main reason to come up this way is the giant creeper statue, probably the most noticeable feature of Lintcraft's landscape so far. Inside the creeper's feet, you can enter a water elevator that takes you up to the creeper farm harvesting area, but bad news, everyone. The creeper farm isn't working. Inside the creeper head is a 3-tier creeper spawning platform, and the creepers are definitely spawning, but they aren't walking over the edges. I'm not sure if I have to reconfigure the buttons, or maybe swap them out for trapdoors, or just get some cats all up in here. But we'll figure it out because we could really use some more gunpowder for rockets. And up on top of the creeper head is perhaps the best view of Lintcraft possible. Everything built in this area on display, and one day hopefully this view will be a lot more impressive and full of builds. Now, to access the other areas I have relegated for construction, we'll have to go through the nether, which means we finally get to check out the nether rod up close. Don't get your hopes up too much. Like everything else, it's only half built. Just call me Lintbar Calamitas. But yeah, so the idea is this was one of the great works of old Lintalon. But as the society faded, the portal began to leak out and corrupt the ziggurat around it. Each of these 4 quadrants with the gazebo pool things will represent one of the updated nether biomes. And on the other side of the big portal is an unfinished base. I mean, I'm working on it, okay? We'll get this one done on a stream, I think. Eventually, this will be the centerpiece, the grandest of all the nether bases, but each overworld area will have a corresponding smaller base that all link up to this big central hub. Each of these will eventually be fully stocked with anything and everything we would need to spend extended periods of time in the nether. So the nether hub is up in the ceiling, where it's nice and safe to build away from any nasty ghasts. Though we should make sure this big empty area is spawn-proof. I've had a few back before I added the glass. And most importantly, up here we can access the Nether Highway to zip around to different places. The finished highway leads to Mount Gravy, and we'll be headed there. But first let's run down the unfinished highway real quick-like and see the northwest region. So this is a tiny desert village locked between a jungle and a badlands biome with the old terrain generation. If I ever need terracotta or gold, this is the place to get it. But other than that, I never did much here. The start of a nice colonizer mansion, but that's about it. But there's so much untapped potential here. Okay, back to the nether base, and let's ride the highway again. So the highway could theoretically be more efficient if I swapped out the ice blocks for blue ice, but I think it's plenty fast already, and this saves on resources a bit. I do need to spawn-proof it though. At the other end, it's not even much of a space for a base, but we'll get there. Through the portal! So this is my post 1.18 mountain base, Mount Gravy, and of course, do I even need to say it? But this has been our base of operations for finding new things that won't spawn back on Linton's continent. and one day it'll be an awesome mountainside village with a bunch of terraces and stairs and bridges leading down to a massive harbor. Let me know in the comments if Mount Gravy should be part of the main Lintcraft YouTube series or if I should work on it over on the Twitch stream. Down here is a mine we dug a couple of episodes ago looking for diamonds, and these caves have amethyst geodes that could be potential projects as well. There isn't much else out this way except the big cave and trail ruins from my early streams, but speaking of caves, let's hop back over to Linton to touch on one last thing and complete the circle. So under this ziggurat is a big empty space full of mobs, but I'm thinking we dig out a reverse ziggurat and make this a massive open space. For what? I'm not sure, but I do know that it would connect to this big hole in the ground, which will have tunnels branching off, one of which leads to a slime chunk, and if we keep heading this way, it links up to the original branch mine underneath the castle, as well as, maybe one day, access to the skeleton spawner room. And finally, if we keep tunneling west from there, we could get under the river and the village to connect the castle to a spider spawner in an unfinished laboratory kind of room, which has direct access via water elevator to Nelrim's tower. So, as you can see, we've got a lot of work to do here on Lintcraft and no shortage of episode and stream ideas and tons of potential. And we'll check back every so often with a very gravy episode to see how things have changed as the series goes on. Now, before we can close out our very special 10th episode of Lintcraft, let's trim our netherite gear. So we've got a few options, and I went ahead and tested some out. Google Minecraft Armour trim generator, and there are a bunch, but first we need to duplicate one of them. To duplicate an armor trim, you need to have 7 diamonds, a solid block that is related to the specific trim you're duping, and the trim itself. Take it to a crafting table, and you don't need to go out and find another trim in a loot chest. And once you've duped your trim, you've got to take it and the accent mineral of your choice to the blacksmith table, along with the piece of gear you're trimming. Okay, big reveal time. Here we go.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
One shaper, one host, and 2 spires with emerald and amethyst accents.
I'm like, boom, you looking for this? Boom, are you looking? Why do I even talk to you guys?
What do you think? Is it absolutely gravy or a bunch of total lint? Comment down below. And now we're going to start a new end of episode tradition to close out this very special episode. So we're back where we started, the Grand Library, and we're going to place down a lectern, and I've got this book and quill here, see? And we're going to keep a record of everything we do here in the Lintcraft series from now on. If the series takes off, maybe we can start doing a comment of the day or something fun like that, too. And with that, that's a wrap on Lintcraft episode 10. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like down below and maybe post a comment about your favorite build in the world so far, or which unfinished build you'd like to see finished next. We'll be back to work on the inventory tower in the new year, and I'm working on getting a new permanent Minecraft Monday stream schedule for the new year too. I'll do my best to keep you guys posted if you'll do your best to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a thing. Okay everyone, I'll see you next time. I hope you have a gravy holiday season and a merry Lintmas. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.
Come all to this tragic affair. I went live on Twitch and I lost all my gear. That needed work, oh boy.